Welcome back, folks, and on this episode we're going to do a wish list for Jada Toys to make some of these brand mascots. Once again, folks, welcome back, and I'm messing with the format of my channel a little bit because I wanted to start doing some just action figure conversations. I know I mostly build dioramas, but most of the time I'm building a diorama because I looked for a certain action figure. So I'm really into Jada Toys recently, probably like most of you. I think they've been doing an awesome job, not only with their kind of obscure characters like the brand mascots, but Street Fighter is fantastic. I'm probably going to get most of them. I'm probably going to replace most of the Street Fighter figures that I had as a kid in G.I. Joe form because I liked for them to fit into my G.I. Joe classified collection. But before Street Fighter, they were making die-cast cars for almost as long as I can remember. I think one of the first things I have from them is a Star Wars playset, I'm not sure. But then most recently, I bought one of those miniature TMNT sewers. I think it's still in the box, I haven't opened it. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, but that was kind of their bread and butter. Now, some of the other things that they've been doing have been dipping their toe into the action figure well, and I think at this point they've kind of solidified themselves as an action figure company as well. Since they started making 6-inch scale figures, we've seen Universal Monsters, and then we've also seen some brand mascots. And I think the first three that we saw were cereal brand mascots, the Halloween themed ones. So you had Frankenberry, Count Chocula, and Boo Berry. And up until recently, it was just those three until Chester Cheetah. Now, he came out a few months ago. I just picked him up, and this figure has no reason to be as good as it is. He comes with a whole bag of Cheetos, he comes with his own Cheeto accessory, and then he even comes with a hand that has the orange stains on his fingers, just like you'd have if you were eating a bag of cheese doodles. So, pretty cool, and I think they're doing a great job with their action figure lines, but that kind of got me thinking of what other brand mascots could they do, and I started kind of coming up with different ones that I'd love to see in action figure form. So I came up with a list of 15. I know it sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of brand mascots to kind of get through. So I'm going to go through each one, and then I'm going to save the best for last because I think the last one is kind of a home run, and I think that one will probably be the best brand mascot they can ever produce. So stick around to the end and find out. So to keep myself grounded, I kind of needed to reel it in and not pick everything. So I had to pick a few different categories. So there's 5 different categories as we go through this episode. And these are just hypotheticals, what I would like to see from Jada as far as their brand mascots. There's a lot of cool things they can do. So let's start with the first one. So the first topic is sticking with the cereal mascots. There's so many more they can do, but I'm trying to only pick 3 from each topic. So let's go through those 3. I think the first thing they should do is finish off the Halloween mascots. They still have Fruit Brute that they can do, and I think there's a newer one that I'm not familiar with, Carmella Creeper. So if they did that, that's 5 figures from those Halloween different cereals, and I think those would be really cool because then you can kind of make a little Halloween display. I don't really have decorations for other holidays other than Christmas, but for Halloween I put out a lot of toys. So I have my first McFarlane figure, which was the Movie Maniacs Ghostface from Scream. He always goes out every Halloween. I would definitely do a little display of all of my cereal brand mascots, the Halloween version. So I think they should finish that group off and then complete that team, I guess you could say. And then sticking with that same idea of cereal, give us Lucky from Lucky Charms and the Silly Rabbit from Trix. I think his name is Trix or just Silly Rabbit. But either way, kind of the same idea as putting those out as Halloween decorations, the original 3. These you can put out for St. Patty's Day or for Easter. And I don't have any decorations for those, but I'd put Lucky from Lucky Charms out on the table as a decoration, and I'd put that rabbit out for Easter. But I think they have really cool designs, really cool colors. Thinking of their accessories, again, they'd probably come with a box of cereal like the others. I think what I would do differently with them is probably give them a bowl of cereal and maybe a spoon, so I think that'd be pretty cool. And the third of the cereal brand mascots, and I know there's many, so really depending on what you like, you can probably pick a different mascot, but I'll go with Tony the Tiger. I think he is probably one of the oldest, most iconic, and I could be wrong about that, but he's been around a long time. And I think that would be more of a bigger figure, which they haven't done with the cereal brands. So that would kind of put the cereal brands into like a deluxe size. which I think would be pretty cool. And as far as accessories, you can give him different things other than the cereal box. He was always playing sports in the commercials, so you can probably give him a soccer ball or football, something that just kind of gives you that nostalgic feeling of when you used to watch those commercials. So that is my third pick for the cereal brands. Now for my second topic, it's still food related. It's just plain food mascots, so venturing out of cereal. And these are mascots that I think would be really cool in action figure form. And my first one is Mr. Twinkie. I think it's Mr. Twinkie, but he was that Twinkie with legs and arms, and he has a cowboy hat and a bandana. I think that would be really cool. Different kinds of accessories other than the Twinkie. You could probably give him the box that the Twinkies come in. I think that would be pretty cool. I think he's pretty iconic. I'm trying to think of other cake mascots that they have. I know they all have different ones, but it'd be cool to kind of get one that's a little wacky and has a character wearing that different outfit. So I think that would be fun. And my second option for food mascots would be the Kool-Aid Man. I think this one would look super weird as an action figure, but kind of cool with that translucent plastic, seeing how they fill the Kool-Aid on the inside, maybe give him some different expressions. He'd really only be articulated at the arms and the legs, but I think that would be pretty neat. And some accessories I'd love to see the Kool-Aid Man come with are, one, a pitcher of Kool-Aid. I think that would just be a given. And then the other one would be that plastic cylinder of Kool-Aid powder. If you ever went to summer camp and your mom sent you a care package, more than likely you got that powder in the mail. And that was really cool. If you were at the mess hall table, you'd be the pretty awesome guy getting that powder out so you didn't have to just drink water. So I think that would be pretty awesome. And my third pick of the food characters is the Pillsbury Doughboy. I think that one would be so much fun. Again, probably not the most articulated, especially in the neck. He really doesn't have a neck, but just a little round figure, and he can also come with some cool accessories. A croissant, if he can come with a canister of those biscuits. Who remembers opening up those biscuits, even though they weren't homemade? They were still always fun to kind of pop that canister, peel those biscuits off, and either pop them in the oven or toaster. So that's my third choice for the food mascots. Now this is the last topic revolving around food, but these are restaurant mascots. Now this is anywhere from fast food to takeout, however you want to call it. I think these are pretty iconic mascots that would be really cool. My first pick, I really don't know if it's feasible because they're really not a thing anymore, but the Burger King Kids Club. To have a 6-inch scale figure of Kid Vid or Jaws, I think would be super fun, but again, not sure how feasible that is because I don't think those characters transcend to the next generation. That was really a late 80s, early 90s type of deal. But either way, I'd still like to see them in a 6-inch form, and if anyone can do it, Jada can. And my second pick for restaurant mascots is the little pizza guy from Little Caesars, the guy that's always like pizza, pizza. I think he'd be really cool. Short, stout character. He comes with that pitchfork with the pizza on it, or the spear. I think that would be cool. So not only give him that spear with the pizza on it, maybe give him like a little expression bubble that says pizza, pizza. I think that would be pretty awesome. And for the last restaurant brand mascot that I think would be pretty good are some of the McDonald's mascots. So they're still pretty relevant today. I think Ronald McDonald kind of went away for a while. But they're still relevant. Everyone knows Ronald McDonald, not just from McDonald, but the Ronald McDonald Foundation. So they do have some staying power. I really think that a 6-inch scale figure of Ronald McDonald would be kind of funny, and they've done toys of him before, but not in recent years. Now, McDonald's used to make some pretty cool toys themselves, not anymore, but I think that would be probably the most popular one, is a Ronald McDonald. And of course, what accessories would you give him? Maybe some fries, a Big Mac, maybe some chicken nuggets, but you really have a lot to choose from as far as accessories for him. If you were going to do a Ronald McDonald, that also potentially means that you get the whole crew. So Birdie, Grimace, and the Hamburglar. So who knows, maybe someday. This fourth category is really strange, and I'm talking about PSA mascots, public service announcement characters. And these are deep cuts, and I don't think in any way, shape, or form that these would get made, but just humoring the idea. The first one I'll go with is the Dare Lion. I think his name was Darren. Do you remember Dare? You'd have to sit through that class in school. Usually a police officer would come to your class, talk to you about gun violence or bullying or not to use drugs, whatever it was. It was pretty fun. It was an hour not being in class, so that was really cool. But the character of Darren, the Dare Lion, he just had a cool shape. He had a muscular body. He had that Dare t-shirt. pretty cool. What I'd like to see him come with is maybe a DARE certificate and maybe a police badge. I think you got an honorary badge at the end of that session with your certificate, so that would be a pretty cool one. Another popular PSA character from back in the day was Scruff McGruff. So he was that keep kids off drugs mascot. He was a dog in the trench coat, really cool. And that was just a really fun one. I remember seeing at the end of every kids cartoon back on a Saturday morning. So he can come with a magnifying glass, or he can come maybe with a wanted sign. I don't know. I think he did some PSAs with the turtles. I'm not sure, but it would be kind of cool to put him next to the turtles in their trench coats and have him there. So wishful thinking. And the third PSA mascot that I think would be pretty cool is Smokey the Bear. Still pretty popular today. Everyone knows who Smokey the Bear is. And I think he's still pretty relevant, I think. If you go to any national park, you're still going to see a picture of Smokey, and he's always holding that shovel, so that's a great accessory. Maybe he can come with a little fire or like a bucket to put the fire out. I don't know, but he seems like he'd be one of those deluxe size characters that would just be a random pick on your shelf. And the final category of my wish list are toy mascots. Now this one was hard because toys in themselves don't have mascots. The characters sell the toys, so they don't really need mascots, but some of them transcend beyond just the toys. But I had to really think hard of a few. The first one is Mr. Moneybags from Monopoly. So I think other than just being the mascot of Monopoly, he's kind of transcended into other things. He's associated with McDonald's again, but also just with lottery tickets. So maybe those are some cool accessories that he can come with. He can come with the actual board game of Monopoly, maybe a few lottery tickets, maybe one of those scratch and peel McDonald's cups, who knows. But I think he's a pretty cool mascot that kind of epitomizes just board games in general. And my second pick for toy mascots would be the mascot of Pogs. So if you were born probably in that mid 85 to 95 area, then you probably remember Pogs. I never knew how to play it. I just collected the Pogs and the Slammers. But they had a character that looked like a caveman. I think he's just called the Poglodite, or the Pog creature. And he was always on the Pogs branded merchandise. Pretty cool accessories he can come with. He can probably come with like a molded stack of Pogs, maybe a slammer that is actually molded into his hand. And I think it would be really cool to get one of those tubes that you used to keep all your Pogs in. So I don't know, cool idea. Again, wacky concept. And for my number one pick of brand mascots, I think Jaded Toys should do is Geoffrey the Giraffe. Now, most adult collectors were probably born anywhere between the late 70s to the mid 90s, where all that nostalgia comes from. And a huge part of that childhood was Toys R Us. Now we have to go to Walmart or Target. It kind of sucks. But Toys R Us was always that special place, and I used to remember leaving the store and there'd be that giant mural of Geoffrey the Giraffe and his family. There might have even been one of those 50-cent machines where you can ride in a little car, riding right next to Geoffrey. So I would love to see that made as an action figure. I think it would really go really well with my Toys R Us diorama, but I think he would come with some cool accessories too. Yeah, you can give him some toys, but I'd love to see him come with that classic Toys R Us bag, or maybe even that blue basket with the Toys R Us logo on it. And because of the age demographic of most adult collectors, I would say give us that design from the mid 80s to the early 90s. The one after that was just a real giraffe, which is kind of boring. And then the one in the early 2000s, that was a weird one. So hopefully they stay far away from that, and I'd love to see that classic 80s, 90s Geoffrey the Giraffe. So there you have it, folks. That's my wish list for the brand mascots from Jaded Toys. I think they've been doing an excellent job, and I think they can execute all of the characters that were mentioned in this episode. So let me know in the comments, were there some that I forgot? Again, I didn't want to make the list too long, so let me know in the comments which ones you would love to see be made into action figure form. So I hope you enjoyed this wish list. If you did, hit like and subscribe. And until the next episode, we'll catch you next time.